Hello again. So I thought today we would make a dish called Mediterranean baked chicken. And what's beautiful about this dish is that there's no carving or anything like that. You essentially use chicken chops on the bone, and they've got skin on. They're all much the same size. Use an assortment of vegetables such as the shallots that I have here, Padrone peppers, small capsicum, cherry tomatoes, maybe some rosemary and some paprika and olive oil. So it's very straightforward. It's really just a bit of prep. Then it cooks in the oven for about 45 or 50 minutes. Very simple to make and very enjoyable to eat. So what we're going to do is start with the chicken. And one thing I just want to make a comment about, buying chicken or any meat for that matter from the butcher. And the idea is when you get it home and unwrap it, you should unwrap it straight away. Don't shove it in the fridge with, all its plastic wrappings and stuff. Get it unwrapped and pat it dry and salt it. And for this quantity of chicken, I'd recommend you put about a dessert spoon of salt over the flesh side of it, and then turn it over so that it's skin side up and uncovered, and leave it uncovered in the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours. But you could leave it like that for 2 days if you wanted to, what that does is it seasons the meat really beautifully, and it tenderizes the meat. And by having it uncovered in the fridge, it dehydrates it a bit. So when you're trying to brown it, it's going to brown better than it would otherwise. And the other tip about cooking chicken and meat and things is to always bring it to room temperature before you actually put it in the oven. And that will ensure that it does cook more evenly. So, now for this, what we're going to do, basically, this is it for these vegetables. I'm not going to do any more prep on those. I'm even going to keep the shallots whole. Maybe I could trim some of these sort of root ends off them. But they can stay together quite nicely in their skin, and they can bake like that. These, I suppose you call them hairy bits, can just come off like that. And any loose paper as well. So, and if you've got any markings like that, just make sure they're, I don't know if we'll use this one. Okay, I'll put that one aside. So, I just want to make sure these don't have, yes, oh, careful, dirty, not going to use that. So you do need to check them. I might just cut them in half just to make sure they're okay. Just to clean them up a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I've got rosemary. Very careful cooking rosemary. If you're going to cook it, and it's really nice to cook because it infuses the oil and stuff very well, but don't break all the little leaves off because they'll char in the pan and be impossible to get rid of. And just sort of be a bit unsightly. You better to just put it in on the stick like this, and then to take the stick out once it's cooked and put fresh rosemary on the serving plate. I'm just going to also add a bit of pepper to this. And the idea is that all these ingredients get coated in the olive oil and placed into the baking dish. So, it's pretty straightforward to do it. You need to really do it with your hands. Is the most efficient thing. And just keep them, you can keep them separated. So there's 6 pieces here, which is 6 generous serves with the vegetables. I'm going to try and put the rosemary on the bottom rather than on the top. Those in here like that. Let's pop that down for a second. That's a bit easier. Alright, now, these Padrone peppers, it's wonderful in the summertime making this dish because things like the peppers and the cherry tomatoes and the chilies are all in season. And it's just so colourful and vibrant, and it's really breathtakingly easy to make. Okay, and they just go into here like that. And the only other thing that I really want to do is, obviously the shallots need to go in. And of course you can peel these if you want to. I'm just being a bit rustic by not peeling them. You could put whole cloves of garlic in, whole bulbs of garlic in if you wanted to. You could even slice potatoes up. It's really your call as to how you want it to be. I do put a little bit of paprika over the chicken. This helps colour it nicely. It also gives a nice smoky flavour to the dish. Try and do it through a strainer. Mind you, this strainer looks a bit coarse. I probably should have used a tea strainer, but you can smell that lovely smokiness. That's really all we have to do. This goes in the oven now, hot oven, about 230 degrees. We'll check it after about 40 minutes, and we'll probably need about 50 minutes or so to cook. And I'll just need to do a bit of a baste. I'll turn the chicken pieces over at the 40-minute mark. But Mediterranean baked chicken looks pretty good so far. So this has had about 25 minutes in the oven, and as you can see, it's very coloured. That's mainly from the paprika, but also it's in a hot oven, so the cooking is marching along. We're getting a nice sauce happening here from the tomatoes breaking down and the chilies and the capsicum. So what I'm doing here is I just want to make sure that each piece of chicken is actually well basted in the oil, or in the the dressing really. And here. So everything sort of shrinks back. What I'm going to do is just cut into one of these pieces of chicken just to get an idea of how well cooked they are. So, and I don't know if you can see that there, but it's still quite, but it's probably only about 10 minutes off. It's not quite cooked, but I'm going to give it another 10 minutes, and I think I'll turn the heat down a bit too. Okay, so this all looks pretty well cooked to me. I'm just going to check the chicken in here, and it's fine, perfectly cooked inside. All right, so I'm just going to take these. I've got a heated serving dish here, and going to baste each piece. And you could serve this with, rosemary potatoes or brown rice, or I don't know, couscous, whatever rocks your boat, I guess. But it's just lovely on its own, even just with, bread and butter or whatever. Here's one of my sticks of rosemary. It's gone to God. Okay. Now, I'm just going to have a taste of this sauce. I'm sure it is fine. But this is your opportunity to correct the seasoning. Sorry, I've got some chilli on me. And as you know, we didn't de-seed those chilies, so they're there's a bit of warmth in there. It's not impossibly hot. It's beautiful. And that looks about right to go. Mediterranean baked chicken.